Welcome to the Math Bridge Prep courses for summer 2015. In this presentation, we are going to introduce you to what you are going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. First, I want to introduce and welcome you to the faculty who are going to be involved in helping you get through the next couple of weeks. We will look at the outline of the pre-semester prep program, which is the course that you are currently enrolled in. We're going to give you some data that you're going to want to know, specific details for getting started today, and then we're going to let you get started. So, in terms of introducing the faculty, the voice that you're hearing right now is Latrice Bowman. I'm a math faculty member in the Department of Mathematics and Statistics at UAF. Gordon Williams is also a math faculty here, and he will be the point of contact for all of you distance students. He will be the one who will be emailing you back and forth and making sure that you guys are on track to finish the course. Kit Angeli is our Math Bridge assistant, and she will be helping with some of the registration issues that may come up, as well as other logistics for this course. The Math Bridge program started in the summer of 2011. Since then, we've had more than 1,000 students participating in either our pre-semester prep programs or our PASS programs. Students who participate in this program are more likely to be successful in their math classes. And here, I stress the word participate and not complete, because even participating will help you recall some of the prerequisite material that's going to be needed for your math classes, but it's also going to help you be better prepared as a student. So what is the pre-semester prep? The pre-semester prep consists of 6 pieces. First is the initial assessment in ALEKS, which I'll talk a little bit more about. I checked this off because this is the first thing you're going to do in this course. The second component is the attendance. Now, obviously, because you're a distance student, what we mean by attendance is a little different. Instead of actually coming into class every day, what we mean by attendance is that you're actually logging into your ALEKS every day and completing the study skills assignments that we're going to have. Okay. The ALEKS PI Objectives Mastery is the third piece, and this is the biggest portion of the pre-semester prep. This is where you're going to get all of your prerequisite skills solidified before going into your course. And by mastery, we mean you're going to complete those to 90%. That is your goal. Okay? The ALEKS time completion is a part of the objectives mastery, but it's also a part of the requirements for the course. Students have to complete so many hours in order to earn a credit. And for this course, because it's condensed down into 2 weeks, it looks at about 3 hours per day on ALEKS. For that time completion, we're looking at a 2-week period. We expect 3 hours per day over 10 of the days during those 2 weeks. The study skills assignments will be listed in ALEKS under the resource folder, and those you will be asked to complete each couple of days. There's 4 assignments in there, and they're not meant to be long, drawn-out assignments. They're mostly things to help you think about what it means to be a good student and what it's going to be required of you to be a good math student. Okay. These study skills assignments for distance students, like I said, they're going to be in your resource folder in ALEKS. And once you've done them, so you can pull them up and print them off and complete them, once you're done them, you can email them back to Gordon Williams. And then the last part of the pre-semester prep is the final assessment mastery. So after you've done all of your objectives and you've completed all your study skills assignments, you're going to be asked to take another assessment, and it's going to look at what you've done and what you've retained over that 2-week period. Now, 2 weeks doesn't seem like a very long time, but with all the material that you're going to be doing throughout that time, and being prepped for your next class, we would just make sure that when you leave, you've actually gone through enough of it. And so here, our mastery level is 80% on that. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit more about that ALEKS Pi objective mastery. Because like I said, you want to get to about 90%. And so to do that, it's not something that comes very easily. For those who have not used ALEKS before, here's an example of the pie chart. And what you're going to see when you go into ALEKS after you've done your assessment is they're going to give you a pie chart that looks like this. When you log in each day after the assessment, you're going to come to a screen that looks just like this when you first log in. Towards the top, you'll see the course mastery, and it'll tell you how many topics out of the total number of topics you've completed. And as you can see, this person has been working a while, so they're getting there. They're not quite done, but they're almost there. By the 90%, we mean 90% in each pie area. And so here you can see overall 324 out of 396, they've completed 81% of their pie. So even if they complete 9% more, they've met their 90% mastery overall, but we want it in each piece. So for example, if I look at the purple exponents and logarithms section, I can see 13 out of 27%. 13 out of 27 topics is only 48% of my pie piece. And so even if I reach that overall mastery of 90%, if I'm sitting at 48% in that pie piece, I haven't completed the objective. Okay. If I look at the geometry in the red section there, I can see 32 out of 33, I've completed 90% in that area. And so we are looking for 90% in each pie piece, which will give an overall course mastery of at least 90%. Like I said, that final assessment mastery we want to 80%. And what's going to happen there is going to be a lot like your initial assessment, where you're going to be given about 30 to 35 problems, and you're just going to be asked to complete them. Now, obviously, it's not going to cover everything because you're only getting 35 out of the 396 or 422 topics that are in the ALEKS Pi, depending on which course you're in. And so for the 80%, you get 2 attempts at that. Your first assessment should come up May 21st. And if you're about done your ALEKS Pi, you should go ahead and take that first initial final assessment. If you do not score the 80%, you can have a second attempt at that. And I would say you probably want to complete a couple more objectives, get your mastery back up there, and then try the assessment again. Both assessments need to be completed before the 25th. And so if you are going to retake it, I would say do that first one on, like I said, about the 22nd, 21st or 22nd, give it a day, and then do your second attempt. Some numbers that you're going to want to know. Okay. The first is, how do you add a topic to your ALEKS pie chart? So for those of you who have used ALEKS before, you already know this answer. It depends on whether or not you need help. Okay, we are looking at prerequisite material, but as we've said before, as you go into your next course, you may have some gaps in that prerequisite material or just don't remember something. And so it depends on whether you remember the topic or have learned the topic before, or maybe it's something that's somewhat new to you. If you don't need any help, you only have to solve the problem 2 times in a row, and then it's going to be added to your pie chart. If you need help or you work a problem incorrectly, then you're going to need 3 times in a row. Okay? This can get frustrating for students, and I mention this because I don't want you to get discouraged and give up. There's a reason behind the madness. If you are working a problem, and let's say you get it right 2 times in a row, and then on the 3rd time you make a mistake, it's going to make you do it 3 times in a row again. And the idea here is ALEKS is testing to make sure not only that you know the material, because it's easy to read and do something after you've read through it, but it's also making sure that you can do it proficiently. One of the things that's going to be very apparent in your next math course is whether or not you have facility with the material. And that doesn't mean just knowing the material. I can pretty much read anything I want and figure out how to do it. It's going to take me a while, but for us, what we would like is facility, and that means if I read the material, I can do it fairly quickly because I know it and it's stuck in my mind. And so that's what Alex is trying to get you guys to do, is to be able to have facility with mathematics. Can you lose topics from your PI? Now this is kind of daunting as well, and the answer here is yes. You will be given periodic assessments, somewhat like the initial assessment, but it's going to be a little bit shorter. And they pop up here and there. There's no rhyme or reason as to when they pop up. Sometimes it'll be because a student has added a lot of topics to their pie chart in a short amount of time. And so Alex will look at it and say, okay, you've done a lot of stuff. Let's make sure you actually know all of that and remember all of it. Sometimes it could be because you've added just a few topics and it seems that you're having some difficulties with that. And so Alex will give another assessment to make sure that you are progressing forward. Okay. Anytime you're given an assessment, treat it as though it's an actual learning opportunity. Try your hardest at it. They will give you some areas where you can put in things like I don't know or skip the problem, but I would say use those as an absolute last resort. Try the problems as best you can and be honest with them. So don't use calculators on it if you're not allowed a calculator. Write out your work and try and actually do it to your best ability. Some other fun facts that you want to keep in mind. So for the last 2 years, the passing rate for Math 107, 161, 200, 262, and 272 is about 53%. Okay, that seems low, but that's about the national average for what we consider gateway courses, courses that are needed to go on to other classes such as chemistry, biology, physics, etc. For a lot of students, these are probably the most difficult courses that they're going to have in their academic careers. For Math Bridge students over those last 2 years who scored 80% or better on their final assessment, the pass rate was 90%. So we increased their pass rates by about 37%. For the students who managed to get 70% on their Alex Pi, so these are students who participated but didn't quite complete the course, their pass rate was still 70%. So you're still looking at about 17% better than the average for the courses. So again, just participating in this and getting most of the way through, you're giving yourself a much better chance of succeeding. So how hard is it to get the magical 90%? Well, it depends on how well you do on that initial assessment. What we have found over the last 3 years since we started this program in 2011 is that for the average student, it takes about 1 hour to gain 1% of the pie. And now, again, that's something that a lot of people kind of step back at. Again, when I say the average student, I mean the average student on an average topic. Again, when you get your initial assessment, it's only going to be about 35 problems. And so you're not going to be assessed on things that may be very easy for you, right? Most of us in here are going to be getting, you're not probably going to get some problems that look like 2 plus 2, but most of you can do that very easily, and it's not going to take you an hour to learn that topic. So there's going to be some topics that are going to go very quickly for you. What we mean by the average student 1 hour per 1% is for those topics that you kind of remember but you don't really know, or the ones that maybe there is that gap in there, and so it's something you're really kind of learning for the first time. Okay, So when you're first starting out, the gain on your ALEKS pie chart is going to be much quicker than later in the program. So here I give you an example. Let's say you mastered 217 topics out of 396, or about 55% of the pie. So based on the fact we just said, it's going to take about 35 hours to complete your 90% of your ALEKS pie chart. Now again, that's a lot of time, and this is why we require that 3 hours per day, because for a lot of students, if we didn't require that, they wouldn't do it. And it's hard to set aside that time. Okay? It's not going to happen accidentally. Okay? It's going to require some planning. So one of the things that you're going to need to do is figure out over the next 10 days when you have those 3 hours. Does this mean you sit down for 3 hours in a row every single day and work on ALEKS? No. What it means is if I've got an hour here and an hour and a half here and maybe another half hour here, plan it out. Don't just try to say, okay, today I know I got to do 3 hours. I'm going to go about my business and sit down and try and do it whenever I can. No. Set up a plan for yourself, because what we found is if you don't actually write out when you're going to do it and stick to it, students don't meet this minimum requirement. Again, it's not only a requirement to help you reach your ALEKS goal, it is a requirement to get their 1 credit. Just some interesting information. So we've talked to many past students through our program, and unanimously, many of them have said that the program does make a difference. It's crazy how confident they feel after going through this. So a lot of students come into this program not liking math or having difficulties with mathematics. And this does help with that kind of fear or uncertainty that comes with mathematics. Okay? Steady work really helped. Even if you don't feel like it's helping, it really does help. Some of the topics, like I said, you're going to go through very quickly, and it's going to seem like you're not really doing anything with them, but that repetition that you're going to be forced to do in the program is going to make it so that you are able to keep this stuff fresher in your mind when you get to your course. So sometime today, your plan's going to be a little different. Okay? So you are going to start your initial assessment today. I would say give yourself about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and to do your initial assessments. You're going to need some pencil and paper and your computer or laptop. You don't need a calculator. There is one built into the program, and it will only show up on problems that you're allowed to use it on. Okay? And then do your very best. Okay, so like I said, if you really don't know something, there's a button you can click for that, but attempt the problems and try if you've even got an inkling of how to start it. To log in, first thing you're going to do is go to your aleks.com and click on Sign Up Now, and it's below the login information. When you do that, you're going to get 2 boxes, and it's going to ask you, one of the boxes is going to ask you for a course code. Depending on which class you are going into this summer, there's the code you're going to need. Okay, and so you can pause this and look at write down the code that you're going to need. Once you do that, then you're going to enter that access code you were given. And so this is the code that you should have received in your email. Okay. Once you've entered that access code and clicked the continue or the next button, you're going to be asked to either enter your information, so your name, your email, that type of stuff, or if you've used ALEKS before in another class, then you can use your previous account information. Okay? If you've only used ALEKS for the PPL, do not use that login information. Okay? This is only if you've used ALEKS for a class. Okay? Once you've entered all of your information, it is then going to take you to a tutorial on how to enter answers in ALEKS. Even if you've used it before, it's going to make you go through that tutorial. It'll take about 5 minutes to go through that. Okay? Once you're done the tutorial, then you're going to go right into the assessment. Now, for you guys, once you've completed your initial assessment, you're pretty much done. And what you'll be looking for is a email from Gordon Williams. So you can either continue working on your Alex pie chart from that point. Like I said, you'll go right into your pie and just click on there, and it'll show you how to pick topics and add them to your pie chart. Or you can go ahead and log out and then just come back in another day. Now, like I said, you're going to look for an email from Gordon Williams, and basically he's going to have a quick assessment of what's going to go on for you in this program based on your initial assessment score. If you have questions, please feel free to email us. Our contact information is in the email that you received earlier, and it's also in the syllabus, which can be found in your Alex resources.